Hi, welcome to the Jerusalem Post Zionist Talks. I'm Corinne Baum. Today I have here with me Yuval David. He is an Emmy Award-winning and multi-award-winning journalist, filmmaker, and actor, as well as a leading advocate for Jewish and LGBTQ+ rights. As a trusted political and cultural commentator, Yuval contributes to major international news networks and publications and serves as a strategic advisor to global organizations. He is a dynamic speaker and media consultant. He inspires and educates audiences worldwide through his storytelling. And you can follow him on all social media platforms at Yuval_David or just Yuval David. Yuval, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Can you share your personal connection to Zionism and essentially like when you came across it, how you came across it, and why did you come to embrace it?
To me, that's such a strange question. I'm Jewish. I was born and raised a Jew, connected to my family, to my friends, to my community, to my Jewish people. Understanding what it means to be a Jew and looking at Judaism from the standpoint of understanding that the Jewish people, we are a people, we are a nation, we have a culture, an ethnicity, a religion, a philosophy, an educational system, a way of thinking. All of these things are incorporated together into what it means to be Jewish. And Zionism is integral within Jewish thought, Jewish peoplehood, and Jewish history. It's not some new movement. It's not the movement that Herzl created. Cherut Zion was something that Jews spoke about back when the Romans occupied our lands, and we all of a sudden were no longer self-governing ourselves. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, may I forget, or it's like forgetting my right hand. These sayings were sayings and philosophies that were shared for thousands of years. That is what Zionism is. Zionism, I've understood since my childhood, is the brilliant, hopeful, and determined movement of the Jewish people. It's rooted in our history, our peoplehood, and our unbroken connection to our ancestral homeland. It's the inclusive affirmation of our rights, our self-determination, our community determination, which unites Jews of every background in the shared pursuit of freedom, of safety, of sovereignty in our indigenous land. It comes from something that's very inspiring about Zionism is that it's born from centuries of resilience, of resilient determination. Zionism radiates this inspiring optimism that renewal is possible even after we are exiled, and stands as a beacon for all civil rights, social justice, human rights, and indigenous movements, proving that a people's story of dispossession can become a story of restoration, empowerment, and unbreakable hope.
Well, you actually were talking about something that's going to lead me to my next question. You're talking about how the story of dispossession leads to this whole very different tale. So
Right.
you yourself are a creative storyteller across various platforms, as I mentioned at the top of the interview. So how would you approach telling the story of Zionism today?
I think that it's important for people to understand what Zionism is and to be able to define it based on the history of Zionism. Jewish people, we've always defined our peoplehood and our religion through education and through knowledge. We need to know who we are and where we come from in order to be able to define who we are and where we come from. And that includes Zionism. Zionism is part of Judaism. So I wish more people would be able to define Zionism by the way that we, our people, define Zionism, and not by the way that those who hate us define Zionism. The problem is there are only 15.3 to 15.7 million Jews in the world. There are 2.4 billion Christians in the world. There are 2.2 billion Muslims in the world. There are 1.4 billion Hindus in the world. There are 590 million Buddhists in the world. I can go through this list, but there are only 15.3 to 15.7 million Jews in the world. If we don't speak out loud and proud from a knowledgeable standpoint about who we are and what defines us as Jews, we're going to continue to fail. The problem is on social media, there are hashtags that are much more popular, like Free Palestine or Kill the Jews is a much more popular hashtag than Am Yisrael Chai, is a much more popular hashtag than purely Zionism. Hashtag Zionism is racism is a much more popular hashtag than Zionism. That's a problem. We have allowed people to occupy us. We can no longer live in the era of the weak Jew. This needs to be the era of the strong Jew, the bold Jew, the sexy Jew, the brilliant Jew, the informed Jew, the brave Jew. And that's what we need to do in order to inspire the future of our people.
Wow, it's a hazak answer, as I would say, probably in Israel, but
But it comes from seeing the anti-Semitism everywhere, the anti-Jewish racism, the anti-Jewish bigotry, the anti-Jewish hatred. And maybe we're a people who repeatedly need to be reminded that there are those who are against us in order for our spirit to be revived. I find that terrible, that we can't just find the joy in ourselves. And that's what this era is that we're in right now. So being around others who are proudly Zionist, whether they're Jewish, Orthodox, conservative, Reform, Reconstructionist, atheist, secular, or if they're Christian Zionists or Muslim Zionists or Hindu Zionists or Arab Zionists or Muslim Zionists, whatever it is, we need to be around people who can amplify each other. That's the power of community. And truly, Judaism is built upon community. When a child was born, according to Jewish tradition and Jewish law, when a child is born, first a midwife, right? Or now these days, an OBGYN, but then a midwife would be the first person to hold the child once the child was outside of its mother's body. Then the child would get passed directly to the mother. And from the mother, it would get passed on to the mother of the mother or the next closest relative, female closest relative. And from there, the child would get passed on to the hands of the father. And this passing on of the child through arms of community members really was a ritual to have the child have its first moments as being part of a community and recognizing that we're all there for each other and with each other. That's what Zionism is about. That's what the Jewish people are about. We are a people. We didn't define ourselves as a religion until Christians started to define us as a religion, and we started to understand that we need to see ourselves as that way. We call ourselves Am Israel, the nation of Israel. We don't call ourselves, oh, anachnu dat haYehudim, we're the religion of Jews. We don't talk about ourselves that way. But Christians and then Muslims started to refer to us as a religion, which diminished our peoplehood. We need to remember that we are a people first.
So you've actually once again led me to my next question. I want to see if your answer about peoplehood and community really informs this. So with your background in entertainment, media, and politics, as well as your emphasis on progress and justice and Jewish self-determination, how can we inspire people worldwide to reconnect with Zionism? Is it part of that community aspect, or are there other things that maybe we haven't considered so far?
There are many things that we haven't considered so far. And what does that we mean? You know, who are the we? The problem is we have a very weak echo chamber. People talk about, oh, it's a problem to exist within the echo chamber of Zionists, the echo chamber of proud Jews. Well, you know what? Our echo chamber is very weak. We can't exist and thrive in a flimsy echo chamber. We need a super powerful, strong, playful echo chamber. So it's about ensuring that we can all be educated and continue to be educated and well read about who we are and what our history is and what the opinions are of leaders of Judaism from all different types of Jewish and non-Jewish leaders who supported and nourished our people. That is one of the first things. And when so many people talk about what organizations to donate, where should money go, where should we help, what should we support. We need to make sure that we're supporting Jewish education, that we're supporting Zionist education. Because if we cannot instill that the way it was instilled in me since my, earliest childhood education, then we're going to fail as a people. So anybody out there who's donating money or supporting organizations, wonderful. I'm so happy that you do it. Make sure you're also putting money that can provide scholarships and education to Jewish and other Zionist people around the world.
Absolutely. So would you also say that like part of that education per se, especially for people of my generation, I'm only 24. Would you say that part of that education can be like spread on social media? Do you think that that's also an important aspect for reaching out and educating others who might not be as familiar with these concepts as you are?
Yes, social media and media are basically one and the same. There is no difference between media and social media. They're all different platforms at this point. Many statistics show that anywhere from uh, 90 to 97% of people under the age of 45 receive their news and world information from TikTok and Instagram. That means that we need to make sure that we are well represented across social media in order to be able to convey the messaging that's important to us, in order to be able to represent ourselves on a major international global platform. The people who are not active on social media are part of the problem of why we're failing on social media. We're failing the war on social media merely because the numbers are against us. So what can we do for the people who say, oh, but I don't like to use social media, or I only use social media to watch cat videos or, cooking videos? For people who are active on social media, make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, and engage with the posts of Jewish activists, of Jewish voices on social media. Engage with those because then you can be the algorithm that further amplifies these messaging. What will happen if you engage with it, anybody who follows you is going to, or is more likely to see those accounts, those social media accounts. So, for example, follow all my social media accounts, engage with my posts. I'm not saying that from an ego standpoint. I'm saying that because I'm mission driven. I'm sharing Jewish pride. I'm sharing Zionism and truly what it is to just be a proud Jew who delights in himself. I do the same for so many other Jewish accounts that I'm trying to amplify and to share. That's what we need to be on social media. We need to be a much more powerful, united group of people. We need to be the algorithm, not just being affected by the algorithm.
One of the best ways to support Jewish education would be at the World Zionist Village, which is in construction to my understanding. So, how do you see your vision specifically for community and vision for Zionism coming to life at the World Zionist Village?
I mean, the World Zionist Village is amazing. It's the physical manifestation of what our people need. I wish that we had World Zionist villages all over the world, or that people from all over the world would come to this specific World Zionist village. It's a place of inclusion, a place of education, a place of challenge, to be challenged, to be informed, to debate, to learn, yet to be unified. And that's what the World Zionist Village represents. I mean, here's the thing. Historically, Jews have a problem when we are prominent and weak, or even if we're seen as prominent and weak. We've seen it through different historical periods. And today, Jews have an option either to not be as prominent, successful, to stay out of the public eye, to keep our heads down, or the other option is to not be weak. We need to be prominent and strong. And that's what Zionism represents for us, a movement of a social justice, civil rights, human rights, indigenous rights movement for our people to ensure that we can be prominent and strong, that we can be educated, informed, empowered, supported, and supportive, because that's the only way that we can continue. That's what the World Zionist Village is, as this amazing, amazing plan. And that's what Zionism as a movement is. The fact that so many people, even Jews around the world who are the as a Jew people who say, oh, as a Jew, because of my Jewish identity, I choose to be against the state of Israel and against Zionism. Well, you know what? As a Jew, I recognize that they don't know anything about Judaism, and that's a problem. We need to embrace as a Jew, I'm proudly Zionist. As a Jew, I proudly support democracies around the world. As a Jew, I support indigenous rights and women's rights around the world, and LGBT rights and the power to debate and to learn. That's what Zionism really is about. And that's why Zionist Jews have helped other people in need across the world. That's why Zionist Jews are at the forefront and have historically been at the forefront of most civil rights, social justice, and human rights movements. When you look at them and you look at leadership and you look at some of the most prominent people within all those movements, guess who you find? Zionist Jews. We need to be proud of that. Everything that I do, I'm on air on the news as a news commentator speaking about Jewish issues and anti-Semitism in Israel and Middle Eastern affairs. I'm on the news multiple times a week. I write articles in major publications across the world every week. I'm a fellow for the Middle East Forum. I advise political organizations and meet with politicians in the US and in Israel, trying to help the initiatives of our people. And I took all of the crafts that I learned from my work of being an actor and being a director and a filmmaker into empowering the impact of storytelling and taking that and putting it into my Jewish advocacy and to all the other types of advocacy that I do. And every time I would think about my process, I'd realize that the truth is I was embracing the Jewish art of storytelling. Storytelling is integral as part of our Jewish philosophy, our education, our peoplehood, the way we represent ourselves. And that is ultimately my mission, is to ensure that every Jew, that every Zionist, no matter what people they're of, can engage in more impactful storytelling, because that's ultimately our job here on this world. Is everybody talks about tikkun olam, only tikkun olam. But you know what? Repairing the world, which is what tikkun olam means, is not the only repairing that we need to do. There's tikkun hanefesh and tikkun haguf, repairing of the soul and repairing of the body. Well, what is the soul? Is it my soul? Is it your soul? Is it the spirit, the soul of our people? Yes, yes, and yes. Tikkun haguf, is it my physical body? Yes. Is it your physical body? Yes. Is it the body politic, the body of our people? Yes, yes, and yes. That's what we need to focus on. And that's what's embedded within our Jewishness and why I find such great pride and inspiration to do everything that I do, because I remember who I am and where I come from.
Well, Yuval, thank you so much. This has certainly been an inspiring conversation. And I hope everyone enjoys listening to your very inspiring thoughts.
Find me on social media on all platforms. I do my best to be as active as possible, and join me in the movement of empowering all Jews and Jewish organizations and Jewish news outlets and other groups on social media. We need to help each other out, because that's how we represent ourselves globally.
Well, everyone at home, thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Zionist Talks, and we will see you in the future. Bye-bye.